Hello students, today we are going to start units and measurement. That is the first unit of your syllabus, and we'll start with the basic definitions. First definition is physical quantity. What is physical quantity? A quantity which is measurable is called physical quantity. Any quantity or anything which we measure, which we can measure, is called physical quantity. Now let us discuss what is fundamental quantity. A physical quantity which is the base and cannot be derived from any other quantity is called fundamental quantity. Some of the quantities can be derived from the other physical quantities. For example, area can be derived from length. When you will multiply two lengths, you will get area. So area is a derived physical quantity from the length. But if we talk about length, mass, time, these are the base physical quantities. They are not derived from other physical quantities. So they are called fundamental physical quantities. Examples are length, mass, and time. Now let us discuss derived quantity. A physical quantity which can be derived or expressed from base or fundamental quantity or quantities is called derived quantities. For example, speed. We know that speed is distance over time or length over time. So speed can be derived from fundamental quantities length and time. Similarly, velocity is a derived quantity. Acceleration is also a derived quantity. Force, mass into acceleration is again a derived quantity. Momentum, mass into velocity. So again this is a derived physical quantity. Torque, energy, pressure, density, thermal conductivity, resistance, magnetic moment, etc. All these quantities are the derived physical quantities. Now, after discussing quantities and physical quantities, let us discuss about the units. Unit is what? Measurement of any physical quantity involves comparison with a certain basic, arbitrarily chosen, internationally accepted reference standard called unit. So we generally measure the physical quantities and we generally make the comparisons. For example, length is measured in unit meter, centimeter, millimeter, and so on. Mass is measured with the units kilogram, grams, and so on. So these quantities, these things are called units. Fundamental units. The units of the fundamental or base quantities are called fundamental or base units. Fundamental quantities are length, mass, and time. So their units are called fundamental units. Examples: length unit is meter, mass unit is kilogram, time unit is second. So these are basically the units of the fundamental physical quantities. So that is why they are called fundamental units. Now let us discuss derived units. The units of a derived quantity which can be expressed from the base or fundamental quantities are called derived units, or in other words we can say the units of the derived quantities are called derived units. For example, meter per second. Meter per second is the unit of velocity or speed. Kilogram per meter cube, that is mass per unit volume, density. Kilogram meter per second square. Kilogram is mass, meter per second square is acceleration. So this is the unit of the force. Kilogram meter square per second square. So this is mass into acceleration into distance, work done. So these units are the units of the derived physical quantities. So that is why they are called derived units. System of units. We have a complete set of both fundamental and derived units is known as the system of units. So if we have a complete set of both fundamental and derived units, that is called system of units. Now, characteristics of standard units. Why do we always have some particular set of units? Length is measured in meter. You may be anywhere in any corner of the world. You will see that length units would be same. They will not be changed with the place or with the time. They are same. Standard units we need to use to express the physical quantities. So let us see what are the basic characteristics of a standard unit. A unit selected for measuring a physical quantity must fulfill the following requirements. First, it should be well defined. Any unit that has to be well defined. It doesn't mean that its definition is going to change with the place or it is going to get changed with the time. It is well defined. It must remain same wherever you are, or you may be anywhere in the world, you may be anywhere in the universe. Means the definition of length, or we can say meter, length unit is meter, it has to be same. So 1 meter length should remain same wherever you are. Second is, it should be of suitable size. That is, it should neither be too large nor too small in comparison to the quantity to be measured. Second is suitable size. The unit which we are defining, a standard unit, that should be of suitable size. 1 meter, that is very suitable for the length which we are going to measure. It is not too small, it is visible. 1 meter we can easily see, and it is not too small, it is not too large. Next, it should be reproducible at all places. The unit 1 meter, if you have defined 1 meter here in India, you can define same 1 meter, you can reproduce the standard unit wherever you are. It should not change from one place to the other place or time to time. The standard unit should not change place to place or time to time. So I'm again taking the example of 1 meter. 1 meter should remain 1 meter, the same length. Suppose you have taken one rope of 1 meter, and if you are measuring here in India, it is 1 meter. If you are going to measure it in America, it will remain 1 meter. It will not change. Their 1 meter would not be different from our 1 meter. And similarly, if you have measured 1 meter today, it should remain after 100 years also. Means the 1 meter should not change. So the units which are remaining constant, which are not changing from place to place or time to time, they are the standard units. Next is, it should not change with the physical conditions such as temperature, pressure, etc. Very important point again. means the standard unit should remain constant. We should not define that my 1 meter of summers and this is the 1 meter of winters. It should remain constant. 1 meter will remain 1 meter whether it is the extreme winters or it is extreme summers. It should be easily accessible. Standard unit should be easily accessible. So these are some of the characteristics of the standard units. Next is various system of units. In earlier time, various systems like FPS, CGS and MKS systems of units were used for measurement. They were named so from the fundamental units in their respective systems as given below. Generally, these three physical quantities, length, mass and time, only these three physical quantities were considered to be the fundamental physical quantities. The dimension is L, M is mass, T is time. In FPS system, length is measured in foot, mass is measured in pound and time is measured in second. In CGS system, length is measured in centimeter, mass is measured in gram and time was measured in seconds. In MKS system, length was measured in meter, mass was measured in kilogram and time was measured in second. Now, System International D units, that is SI units. So nowadays we use this system of units, SI system of units. The SI system with standard scheme of symbols, units and abbreviations was developed and recommended by General Conference on Weights and Measures in 1971 for international usage in scientific, technical, industrial and commercial work. This is the system of units which is at present accepted internationally. So nowadays we are using SI system of units. SI system uses decimal system and therefore conversions within the system are quite simple and convenient. Now let us see fundamental units in SI system. What are the fundamental units? Main units are, these are the fundamental physical quantities in SI system. Quantities are length, mass, time, electric current, thermodynamic temperature, light intensity, amount of substance. These are the main physical quantities. Now two supplementary quantities are also added here, that is a plane angle and solid angle. So how many fundamental physical quantities are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 7 fundamental physical quantities are included in SI system and 2 supplementary physical quantities are added. Now let us see the symbol for length L, M, time T, current is A, temperature is K, Kelvin, light intensity, candela, Ct, amount of substance, mole, plane angle, d theta, solid angle, d theta. Now SI units for these fundamental quantities: meter for length and symbol is small m, kilogram for mass, symbol is kg, time unit is second and symbol is small s, Electric current, SI unit is ampere and symbol is capital A. Temperature, unit is Kelvin and symbol is capital K. Light intensity, SI unit is candela and symbol is Cd. Amount of substance is mole and symbol is MOL. Plane angle is measured in radians and symbol is RAD. Solid angle is measured in steradian and symbol is SR. In mathematics, plane angle you generally measure in degrees, but in physics and for doing the calculations, the angle must be in radians. So we'll see the conversion also, how we can convert degrees into radians. Next is definition of SI units. Now we are going to define all these SI units. Meter. Meter is the unit of length. The meter is the length of the path traveled by light in vacuum during the time interval of 1/2997992,458 of a second, 1983. So this definition was given in 1983. That is the definition of meter. So this is the length of the path traveled by light in this much time. This is this is very small duration of the time. So in this duration of the time, what the length of the path which is traveled by light, that is called 1 meter. Kilogram, this is the unit of mass. Kilogram is equal to the mass of the international prototype of the kilogram, a platinum iridium alloy cylinder kept at International Bureau of Weights and Measures at Sèvres near Paris, France, 1889. So kilogram definition is, this is, you can see here in France, there is this platinum iridium alloy cylinder which is kept there, and the mass of that is called 1 kilogram. The second is the duration of 9,192,631,770 periods of radiations, corresponding to the transition between the two hyperfine levels of the ground state of the cesium-133 atom, 1962. Next is ampere. Ampere is that constant current which, if maintained in two straight parallel conductors of infinite length of negligible circular cross section and placed 1 meter apart in vacuum, would produce between these conductors a force equal to 2 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton per meter of length. So this definition you will study, the same derivation you are going to do in class 12th also, and there you will define the same definition. You will give the same definition to current 1 ampere. So generally this definition is derived from the two infinitely long current carrying conductors. When two infinitely long current carrying conductors are lying close to each other, they exert force on each other. Now you see, 1 ampere we need to define. So what is being taken here, the length of the two conductors is taken as 1 meter, the distance between them is 1 meter, and if the force they are exerting on each other is 2 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton per meter, then the current flowing through these two conductors would be 1 ampere. Next is Kelvin. The Kelvin is the friction 1 over 273.16 of the thermodynamic temperature of the triple point of water. Candela. Candela is the luminous intensity in a given direction of a source that emits monochromatic radiation of frequency 540 into 10 raised to power 12 hertz, and that has a radiant intensity in that direction of 1 over 683 watt per steradian. So this is the definition of the candela, that is luminous intensity, which tells you about the brightness of the light. Next is mole. The mole is the amount of substance of a system which contains as many elementary entities as there are atoms in 0.012 kilogram of carbon-12. So this definition you might have already discussed in chemistry. So 1 mole is what? This is the amount of the substance of a system which contains as many elementary entries as there are atoms in 12 gram of C12 atom. Next is plane angle. Plane angle d theta is the ratio of arc to the radius. Its SI unit is radian. So this basic definition of plane angle is arc over radius. You can see here, this ds is the arc and this is the radius of this arc. So if you will complete this circle and you are going to take a very small portion of the arc, then you see arc over radius will define this angle d theta. So d theta is ds over r. This is very basic definition. We'll be using it in calculating or measuring the distances. So d theta is angle is arc over radius. Solid angle. Solid angle is the ratio of the intercepted area dA of the spherical surface described at the apex O at the center to the square of its radius r. Its SI unit is steradian. So solid angle, you see solid angle, you can consider this small cone, and you see this is the apex, and this apex, and you see this portion, this is the area, you see here intercepted area. So this area which is intercepted here, this area we are talking, divided by radius, square of this radius r. So that is the solid angle. So this is dA over r square. Now what is the difference between the two? This is a plane angle, so this is two-dimensional angle. You can draw it only on your notebook, but this is the solid angle. You need to make a cone of a paper, so this is three-dimensional case. Now what is important in all these? The following conventions are adopted while writing a unit. Very important thing we are going to discuss here. Units we should not write as it is, whatever we want, we should not write the things. There are some standard symbols given to the unit, and some of the important things we must keep in our mind whenever we are writing the units. Even if a unit is named after a person, the unit is not written in capital letters. That is, we write joules, not capital J, joules. For a unit named after a person, the symbol is a capital letter. For example, joules, we write capital J. When we are writing the symbol for the unit, we are writing capital J, and the rest of them are in lowercase letters. For example, second is written as small s. So what we can conclude, if any unit is named after a person, then the symbol of that would be capital, and otherwise they would be the lowercase symbols, lowercase letters. The symbols of units do not have plural forms. For example, 70 meter, not 70 ms. We should not write s because 70 is plural. We are not supposed to write like that. 70 meter. Only m we need to write here, because if we are going to add s here, it is having some another meaning. It is not meters, it is meter. Similarly, 10 Newton, not newtons. S should not be written with that. Punctuation marks are not written after the units. For example, 1 liter is equal to 1000 cc. So punctuation marks, we are not supposed to put the dots here, cc. This is wrong. We are not going to put the commas or full stops or dots between the symbols. So whatever the symbol is given to you, you have to use as it is. Some units are retained for general use, thou outside SI. So till now we have discussed all the SI physical quantities and units, SI units, but some of the units are retained for general use. Now they are not inside the SI, they are outside SI. What are those symbols? For example, time generally is measured in seconds in SI system of units, but we can use them like time can be measured in minutes. Generally we use it. Minute, hour, day, year, degrees also, liter, ton, carat, bar, curie, Newton, quintal, barn, hour, hectare, standard atmosphere, pressure. So these are the units which we have taken them. They are generally retained. We use them in our daily life also, daily practice also, but they are not included in the SI system of units. But even then they are used. Now let us see measurement of length. Some methods we are going to discuss for the measurement of length. The order of distances varies from 10 raised to power minus 14 meter, radius of the nucleus, to 10 raised to power 25 meter. That is the radius of the universe. Means you can say this is the span of the length. From this much small radius to this much large radius, we can measure the distances. The distances ranging from 10 raised to power minus 5 meter to 10 raised to power 2 meter can be measured by direct methods, which involves comparison of the distance or length to be measured with the chosen standard length. Example, a meter rod can be used to measure distance as small as 10 raised to power minus 3 meter. What is 10 raised to power minus 3 meter? That is 1 millimeter. You can take your own scale and you can see 0 to 1 centimeter, there are 10 small divisions. And what is the measure of one small division? That is 1 millimeter or 10 raised to power minus 3 meter. So it means we can measure that much small distance 10 raised to power minus 3 meter with a simple scale or simple meter rod. A vernier caliper can be used to measure as small as 10 raised to power minus 4 meter. That is, if you want to measure the distance of 0.1 millimeter, then you have to use the vernier scale. Screw gauge If 10 times smaller distance, that is 10 raised to a minus 5 meter distance you want to measure, you have to use a screw gauge. For every small distances or very large distances, indirect methods are used. So directly you can see these distances, they are measured directly with the meter rod or screw gauge or vernier caliper. But sometimes very large distances, for example, if you want to measure the distance of the moon from the sun, or very small distances, you want to measure the size of the nucleus, you want to measure the size of the atom, then directly we cannot use the meter scale or these three devices to measure these distances. So directly we cannot measure these distances, we have to use the indirect methods. Measurement of large distances. Let us see how we can measure the large distances. The following indirect methods may be used to measure very large distances. First is parallax method. Let us consider a far away planet P at a distance capital D from our two eyes. So you see this is a planet P and it is at distance capital D from our eyes. Suppose that the line joining the planet to the left eye L and right eye R subtend an angle theta here. So you see this angle which is subtended by left eye and right eye at the planet is theta. The angle theta is called parallax angle or parallactic angle, and the distance LR, that is B, is called basis. So distance between the two. So let me tell you what is parallax. That is just the apparent change in the position of any object when you see the object with your left eye, only with your left eye, or only with your right eye. When you are watching the object with your left eye, your right eye has to be closed. And if you are watching the object with your right eye, your left eye has to be closed. You will see, it will appear to you that the position of the object will change when you are changing your eye. Actually, position of the object is same, but it appears. So that apparent change in the position of the object with respect to your eyes, that is called parallax. So here, that is why here the planet is being watched with your left eye and right eye, and the apparent change in the planet is described by this angle theta. As the planet is far away, B over capital D is very, very smaller than 1, and therefore theta is very, very small. It's very obvious. You see the planet is very far away from your eyes, and this is your left and right eye. They are very close to each other, your left eye and right eye. So the distance B is very small as compared to capital D. So the angle theta is also very, very small. Then taking the distance LR is equal to B as the circular arc of the radius capital D we have. So again, we are going to use the same definition of the theta. Theta is what? Theta is arc over radius. Otherwise, no doubt it is a straight line. But you see, if this angle is very, very small, so approximation we can use here, this can be considered as an arc. So arc here is LR, radius is capital D. So theta can be written as arc over radius. So theta is LR over capital D, that is small b over capital D, or capital D is B over theta. So B is what? That is simply the distance between your left eye and right eye, and theta is the angle subtended by both of your eyes at the planet. So in this way we can find out the distance of the planet. Capital D can be calculated by measuring B and theta. Next is measurement of the size or angular diameter of an astronomical object. Now if you want to measure the size of an object, you see this is any planet or any heavenly object whose diameter is d. Now we want to measure this small d. This is Earth. Now from one point on the Earth you can see both sides of the planet. D is the diameter of the planet and alpha is the angular size of the planet, the angle subtended by capital D at the Earth E. Then you see from the telescope you have to see one end of the planet, then you have to see the other end of the planet. Now you see, when you are just rotating your telescope tube, the telescope tube is suppose that is rotated by an angle alpha. So we can say that the alpha is the angle subtended by the diameter of the planet. So alpha would be what? Angle again, so using the same definition. This can be considered as arc. This is radius. So alpha is what? Arc over radius, that is small d over capital D. The angle alpha can be measured from the same location on the Earth. From the same location here, we are not going here and there. From the same location we are going to measure alpha. It is an angle between the two directions when two diametrically opposite points of the planets are viewed through the telescope. Since capital D is known, that we have already known, that we already know that capital D by the first method, the diameter small d of the planet can be determined from the relation small d is equal to alpha into d. From here this formula can be written. So this is the way how we can measure the large distances, distance of the planet or size of the planet. So this is all for today. We'll continue with some other methods of finding the distances or measuring the distances next time. So thank you.